Hello, math makers. Thank you for joining me for another math lesson. Over the past week or so, we've been working on adding using models, and we are about to transition to, or we're actually transitioning already, into partial products. And with partial products, we actually take our columns and we work with them to solve the addition problem. And so we're going to be learning more about how to do that and doing that move. But before we do, I do want to do some review. I always do this review when we're looking at models or looking at place value because I want to make sure we understand how these numbers work together. And I'll make sure you understand too. So let's go ahead and get started because I want you to know all this stuff in here too. So we start with a 1. A 1 is that little bitty square. It's just a baby. And it's just a little bitty square. And 10 ones make a 10. Of course, the tall little column right there is a 10. And each square is worth 1. That's why we know 10 ones makes a 10. And we can see that real easy. We can count them. Count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's 10 ones. Make a 10. And of course, with this being a 10, we also have that 10 tens can make 100. And that's 100. That big square right here, that's 100. And 10 tens make 100. Each column, up and down, is worth 10, or each row is worth 10. So it's a 10 by 10 square. And we can see that each column is, that are 10 tens makes 100 by counting all the tens. Count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And if you were counting by tens, you would say, count with me, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. And so there we have our 100. And you can see that 10 tens make 100. So again, that's a 1, that's a 10, and that is 100. I think most of us know that, but I just want to review it one more time, just in case. Now, some more things I want us to know, because these are things that we seem to always mention at some point in time when we are doing an addition lesson. So I want everybody to understand it. When we have an addition problem, we call it an equation. So it's the whole thing. And really, it's called an equation if it's an addition problem, subtraction, multiplication, division. The whole problem there is an equation. In addition, the two numbers we're adding are called add-ins. And the answer is called a sum. Sometimes you might hear it called a total or a sum total, but we call it a sum. In a number, like the number 26, it's made up of digits. And digits are the numerals or that make up a number. So the number 75 here is a 2-digit number. You can see 2 numerals there, a 7 and a 5. Also, there's different ways to write a number. And I'm going to go ahead and we're going to go over those on this next slide. And this has to do with place value. And I want to make sure you understand when we're talking about ones, tens, and hundreds that you know which place in a number that is. So I have a number here, 523, and we have the ones place, the tens place, and the hundreds place. So this tells us how many ones we have. We have 3. This tells us how many tens we have. We have 2, which is worth 20. And this tells us how many hundreds we have. We have 5. Of course, that's worth 500. And writing a number, that's called the standard form for writing a number. We put it in words, 523. Notice there's no and there. It's not 523. Because when you say and in math, that usually means a decimal point, and we don't have a decimal there. And then we also have expanded form or expanded notation, and we can break up those hundreds, tens, and ones. See, there's 500, there's 20, and there's our 3 ones. And make sure you understand that, because if you can do this and you understand this, it makes a lot of our addition, subtraction, even later, multiplication and division a little bit easier if you can figure those out easily. So, with all that, let's get started on our lesson. The first one we're going to look at today is going to be 326 plus 100. I'm sorry, 321 plus 146. And we're just going to do 3 problems today because I want to go a little bit slower to make sure you understand the partial products. So just like before, the first thing we're going to do is build the first addend. So 321, that's 300s. You can see them there. 100, 200, 300. 2 tens, right there is a tens place. 10, 20, and 1, 1, and we have that. Next, you will build the second addend. 146, we have 100, 4 tens, which is 40, and 6 ones, which is 6. Third, instead of combining those, we're going to go ahead and start our partial products. And we're really just going to start by seeing what's in each column. So we have 300s here and 100. That's 400s. So we're going to write 400. So here's your 300 plus 100. Next, we're going to do our tens. So we have 6 tens in all. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So we're going to put 60 here. And then we're going to count our ones. And we have 7 ones. We have 6 and 1. And that makes 7. And then we're just going to add it. 0 plus 0 plus 7 is 7. 0 plus 6 would be a 6. And 4 plus nothing is a 4. And there we have a number. Excuse me for that. And we know that's going to be our answer, 467. Because we can see that number there. So when I add this, it looks like a 6, but it really gets in the tens place. So that's a 60. And that you can see that there, and that's 400, and we put it there together. That's just like expanded notation, but we're stacking it instead of putting it side by side, which is why I want you to know expanded notation. All right, this was an easy one. Let's do one that's a little bit trickier. And we're going to do 2, and both the next 2 are a little bit trickier and are going to have us regrouping, or I will use regrouping to explain how we got it. Our next one is going to be 238 plus 127. Do you remember step 1? Build the first addend. 2 hundreds, 3 tens, 8 ones. So we have those here, 200, 3 tens for 30, and 8 ones. What's our next step? Build the second addend. So we have 127. So we have 100, 2 tens is 20, 7 ones is 7. And we can keep going with this. We're going to stack our partial products. I can look at my hundreds. I have 1, 2, 3 hundreds, so I'm going to put 300. I look at my tens. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tens, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So I know that is going to be 50. And then I'm going to put my ones. And I've got 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 ones. So I'm going to put 15. Now, when you do 15, make sure you line it up. Okay? So we still have to have that 15 there. Then we add it. 0 plus 0 is 0. Plus 5 is 5. 0 plus 5 is 5. Plus 1 is 6. And 3 plus nothing is 3. And the answer is 365. Now, wait. In our last lesson, we said we would have had a problem here. Don't we have too many ones? Because we've always said you could never have more than 9 in any column. And you said, I said 15. I sort of did. I totally did. But it doesn't all go in the ones place because it's 2 digits, and you can't have 2 digits in ones place, in any one place. So if I take those and I combine them, I have 3 hundreds, 5 tens, 15 ones. And you can see that here. 300, 50 for the 5 tens, 15 for the ones. I'm going to take, if I were moving those, I would take, because I have more than 10, I'm going to take 10 and I'm going to move them over here. Because as we said at the beginning when I was reviewing, 10 ones makes a 10. And so that 10 over here slides over here to the tens place. And that's why when I write 15, I put the 10 here, and I put the other 5 that I have left, I put it in the ones place. So this one right here that I put is actually for that 10 right there. So that's where it came from. I hope that explains it a little bit, and I hope you see why that 1 is in the tens place when I write it. because the number 15 is a 10 and a 5. And that's exactly what I have. I have 10 here and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's where 15 comes from, or how we build 15. So I hope that helps. It's probably a little fuzzy still. Let's do one more and see if it helps clear things up a little bit. We're going to do 374 plus 145. Again, you know what step 1 is, right? What is it? Build the first addend. So we have 300s, so I'm going to put that here. 7 10s, I'll put those here, and 4 1s. So that's 374. Next, I'm going to do the second addend, and I have the number 145 here. So 100, 4 10s is 40, 5 1s is 5. Now I go to partial products again. And so I'm going to add my hundreds first. 1, 2, 300 plus one more is 400. So I'm going to put 400. I'm going to look at my tens. I have 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 tens. So that would be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110. So I'm going to write 110. Don't let that trick you. And then I'm going to add my ones, and I have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm going to put my 9 in my ones place. Again, I'll add them up again. 0 plus 0 is 0, plus 1 is 9. 0 plus 1 is 1, and 4 plus 1 is 5, which makes my answer 519. But again, wait, I thought I had a problem. Don't we have too many tens? Again, sort of, because we have more than 9 in that column. We have 11. So I'm going to have to take 10 of them, just like before. So I'm going to take these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we know 10 tens make 100. So I'm going to move those over here to the 100, and I'll just have 1 left. And if I just have 1 10 left, that's why I have that 110 in the tens place, and I have that 100 in the hundreds place. And that's what really what regrouping is. When someone says carry the 1, they're really just talking about carrying that 100 or carrying that 10 like we did before, moving it over to the appropriate place, because you can't have more than 9 in any column. So I hope this helps clear things up. Our next video, we're going to do partial products again, but we're not going to use any models. We're just going to use what we know in our head, which is why it's so important to get the models now. Guys, thanks for showing up. You're making math a little bit easier just by being here today. And until next time, I hope you have a fabulous week.